So I just got done with Last of Us episode 6 season 2. My gosh. First of all, if you're new, make sure you hit that sub, hit that like, and we will be talking about spoilers. So if you have not seen the episode, go ahead and click out right now. My gosh, what a emotional roller coaster this episode is. This episode starts out with Joel having a conversation with his dad as a kid, and his dad, beats on. I think he beat on. I can't remember if he said he beat on Tommy or him, but he told him that he wasn't gonna beat on Tommy. And then his dad grabs two Budweisers, gives him one and gives him one, or he gives himself one and he gives Joel one. And his dad explains to him that his dad used to beat him, and that's how generational curses get passed down. And the line that he said was, when you have your own kids, I hope you do a little better than I did. I was like, wow. But when you get to the end of the episode and he says those lines to Ellie, I think that really hit. That is great dialogue. That was good. I really appreciated that, and that was really good, because that really is how generational curses pass down. Now when we get to Joel, this is a pretty much a throwback episode. This is a memory episode going back in time. You get to see memories with Joel and Ellie on her 16th birthday, 17th birthday, and I think her 19th birthday. I can't remember, but it's pretty much you get to see all those time frames sped up. And the 16th birthday was actually nice. He took her to the museum. She got to hang out in the little astronaut pod and pretend to fly to space and stuff like that. And I thought that was real cool. But the most interesting aspect of this episode to me was why Ellie is mad at Joel. So mad. That teenager mad. Because I have played the game. We've started it, but I haven't beat the game, so I don't really know I don't know everything on The Last of Us. So I've been curious, like, why is Ellie so mad at Joel? Why does she hate Joel so much? Like, what is going on here? Well, this episode pretty much cleared that up. Ellie pretty much, well, there's two reasons. He lied to her. He swore to her that he wasn't going to kill that man. And he lied to her about that, which I could understand why she's just so upset with him, because, well, when you swear or you make a promise, that's some sacred stuff. You ain't supposed to break that stuff, and he broke that, and she was real mad about that. The second thing is, going back into earlier in the episode, you see Ellie sitting on the bed with a piece of paper, and she's asking these questions, She's pretty much preparing to ask Joel these questions. And they're questions about back when he saved her, which I found very, very interesting. Kids are curious. They want to know things. And she wanted to know what exactly happened. Well, then you speed up. And pardon me, I'm going through what I remember. I just got done watching it. And then it speeds up and we get to see the part where the guy pushes... Or not the guy pushes. The guy called Ellie and Dina the D word. And then Joel pushes him to the ground. And, and Ellie goes off, I don't need your fucking protection. And then, we see Joel, playing the guitar on his porch. Ellie walks by. See, now in a previous episode, we thought Ellie just walked by and went to her space in the garage. But that's not what happened. So this whole time I was thinking Ellie never got to have that real conversation with Joel before Abby stabbed him. You know what I'm saying? But this episode shows that Ellie actually got to have a conversation, because it shows her going to talk to Joel. And, and she's so mad that he lied to her, which is very understandable, because he was lying straight to her face. And then not only that, when they got back... And he was telling the lady that, the guy was brave and he said he loves you. And Ellie was just like, that's not what happened. I was like, dang, she called him out right then and there. And Joel looked real shocked. He was real shocked that she called him out, and I was just like, man. And I gotta say this, man. I know a lot of people has given Pedro Pascal a lot of heat because he's literally in everything. But I gotta say, man, this episode, he did this episode justice. I think he's a great Joel. Like, the emotion he played out in this episode was actually really, really good. Like, when he's having that conversation with Ellie on the porch. And she's like, I don't know if I can forgive you, but I want to try. And then she tells him, hey, I'm going to ask you these things. And if you lie to me, I will never forgive you. So then she starts asking those questions she had on that piece of paper that she was preparing for. And he gave her honest answers. And I believe one of the questions was if there was any other immune people. He said no. Some about Raiders, I believe, and he said no. And then I think he said, or the last question was something about if she wouldn't have been captured by Joel, would they have made a cure? And he said yes. And that could have stopped a lot of these things, but I guess in order for them to make the cure, she had to die. And he told her, he was like, I'm trying to remember exactly what he said, but he said, I would go back and do it again because I love you, and I love you, and I don't understand why or how much I love you, or something along them lines. And I was like, man. And then you see the tears start coming out his face. Man, this was a good episode, man. I think this is one of those episodes to where you don't have to have action. You don't have to have all this crazy action in the episode. You just have to have good dialogue. This episode was tremendous. We got to see the daddy-daughter, the happy times, and then we got to see the bad and sad times. And we also got to see why Ellie went to the basement, or she went to the garage, because, well, Joel said, well, I guess you do need your space, since he came back and she was getting a tattoo and all this other crazy stuff. But man, this was a great episode. It didn't have a lot of action in it, but my gosh, man, this was a great episode. I really enjoyed this episode. You know what's something crazy I was thinking about the other day? Doing YouTube, I really appreciate doing YouTube now, because it's making me appreciate, not only in shows, but also playing video games and in movies. I'm paying extra attention to dialogue and what people are saying. Like, I can notice when great dialogue is in there or when bad dialogue is in something. Like, I'm really starting to appreciate the fact, because I'm paying attention to these things now. And this episode was great dialogue, man. This was great dialogue. I know people had their doubts about The Last of Us, and I know that woke things have been implemented with this show, but I gotta say, man, overall, for somebody who has not beat The Last of Us games, and who had just started watching the show before I even played the games, I thoroughly enjoyed The Last of Us Season 1 and Season 2. So this episode, I'm giving this episode a 10. 10 out of 10. I thought this episode was that good. The dialogue was that good. The daddy-daughter relationship was good. Just everything just was great about this episode. But when it came to the dialogue, man, wonderful episode. What did you guys think about episode 6? What would you give it out of 10? Did you think it was as good as I say it is? Like I said, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. That's how much I really liked this episode. I thought it was a great episode, man. Very emotional. It was emotional. It was good. It was a great episode. It started emotional with learning the generational curse passed from Joel's dad to him, all the way until the end of the episode when he repeats them same lines to Ellie, saying, if you ever have your kids one day, I hope you do a little bit better than me. Gosh, that is great dialogue, man. Let me know what y'all think, man. I'm going to catch you guys in the next one, man. 100,000 subscribers. It's grind time. Let's get it.